Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I want to acknowledge that we are here on Blackfoot territory, and I acknowledge the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. The by-election is now underway here in Brooks-Medicine Hat, and we are already hearing from people across southern Alberta who are fed up with the UCP. They're tired of the drama, the division, the chaos, the instability, the uncertainty. And Danielle Smith only brings more chaos, more costs, more conflict, more instability. It is time for a change, and that change starts right here in Brooks-Medicine Hat with our amazing candidate, Gwendoline Dirk. Gwendoline learns the values of family, hard work, empathy, and integrity while growing up on her family's farm. As an English teacher for 33 years, Gwendoline understands the dedication needed to help others, to collaborate, and the importance of building community. Gwendoline now volunteers her time with Samis Immigration, helping newcomers learn English, and has joined the Medicine Hat Police Commission as a commissioner. I want to make clear that Gwendoline actually lives in Medicine Hat, unlike Danielle Smith. Gwendoline does not need to guess about what matters to families here in Medicine Hat. She knows them, and they know her. Folks here want a real local representative who knows Southern Alberta and doesn't just visit for a photo op. Danielle Smith thinks this will be easy, and we are here to say today that it will not. Danielle Smith will have a fight on her hands with our NDP candidate for Brooks-Medicine Hat, Gwendoline Dirk.
Thank you, Shannon. And thank you to all the volunteers who have gotten us to this moment. It's an honor to be the NDP candidate for Brooks-Medicine Hat. I grew up on a family farm. I drove the grain truck. I milked cows. I understand what it's like to be rural. I faced rural challenges in rural communities. I live in Medicine Hat, and every day I see the issues in this area that people are facing. Here in Brooks-Medicine Hat, families are struggling to pay their bills and keep the lights on as they face the ongoing affordability crisis and the slowest rate wage growth in the country. But the UCP has only made the situation worse. They've piled more costs on Albertans by increasing taxes, tuition, debt on student loans, parking and camping fees, car insurance premiums, and utilities. They've also made it more difficult for Albertans on fixed income by cutting AISH and seniors' benefits. At the same time, the UCP has injected chaos into our healthcare system. ER wait times have increased dramatically, and here in southern Alberta, people can't find a doctor. But Danielle Smith has no interest in the real issues of Alberta families. She will bring more chaos, more cost, and more conflict. Her Sovereignty Act will destroy jobs, destroy investor confidence, and stifle Alberta's economy. On healthcare, she has lots of plans to fire people, but no idea on how to hire frontline professionals that we desperately need. But Alberta's NDP is focused on what matters for families in Brooks-Medicine Hat. I believe Albertans deserve strong public health care. And I'm running to stand up for small business owners, farmers, ranchers, and all rural Albertans. The NDP will bring relief for Alberta families stressed out by the affordability crisis. We'll make sure families can get health care they need in their communities. And we'll build a resilient economy that creates good-paying jobs and exciting opportunities for generations to come. Danielle Smith thinks that she can take this constituency for granted. She thinks she can parachute in from 300 kilometers away and have it handed to her. That's not going to happen. The message I want to send to Premier Smith and the people of Brooks-Medicine Hat is this: we are ready. Our team is ready, and I am ready to serve the people of Brooks-Medicine Hat. Thank you, and we'll be happy to take questions.
So we'll go to questions in person. Just state your name and outlet.
Alex McQuaig, Western producer. Just on some rural issues regarding oil and gas wells. County of Newell and Cypress County are ranked number 1, 2 when it comes to shallow gas wells. There are complaints about oil and gas companies not paying leaseholders, not paying municipal taxes. What's your position on that topic?
I'm going to hand that one over to Shannon.
Sure. Well, certainly as the finance critic for the official opposition, this has been of deep concern because there are hundreds of millions of dollars of unpaid taxes out there, and the UCP has so far not taken any real action for municipalities to be able to recover many of those amounts. They've taken half measures, which the municipalities have welcomed, but they haven't done everything that they can within the Municipal Government Act to empower municipalities to be able to collect those amounts. That's one set of problems. I mean, the other set of problems is, of course, abandoned and orphaned wells, and being able to either hold still solvent companies responsible for their cleanup costs, or in the case where the infrastructure is got some attention-seeking behavior here happening, or in the case where we have orphaned infrastructure, making sure that that money is deployed quickly and efficiently that has been dedicated toward orphan wells. In none of these cases have either municipalities, communities, farmers been appropriately empowered by the UCP government. So there's no question that there's more work to be done around the liability management. There is no question that we need to make sure that the orphan well money that came through the federal government in 2020-21 needs to move quicker and get to where it needs to go. There's no question that mid-sized producers have had really good feedback for the government on how to make sure that that money moves. They've been ignored. All this comes down to an atmosphere of regulatory certainty and of investor confidence in Alberta. And what we don't see coming from Danielle Smith is any indication that there is that sort of steady hand at the tiller to be able to restore investor confidence and ensure that regulatory stability. What we see from Danielle Smith is a recipe for more economic chaos and instability. That's her focus. Our focus is on making communities work.
Do you have a follow-up?
Sorry, I have a follow-up. Just regarding rural issues, what do you see as the number 1 rural issues, or what are you hearing as the number 1 rural issues in this riding?
The rural issues and issues in Medicine Hat in general, the number 1 issue is not being able to find a family doctor. Okay, if you have a family doctor right now in Medicine Hat, you better hope that you can hang on to that doctor. If you do not have a doctor, you can't find one. No new doctors are taking on patients, so that would be the number 1 issue that I'm hearing. The second issue is affordability. Rural Albertans in Medicine Hat, they're struggling to make ends meet at the end of the month and pay their bills with a rising cost of living. Okay. The third is just the chaos and the instability in the government. People want a government in place that is actually ready to step up and actually govern rather than create more conflict and chaos.
And our next question.
Hi there, Colin Glenn at Medicine Hat News. I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit about how you see the local race playing out. I'm not sure if you had an idea that you would be debating or going into a debate against, the premier designated looking for a seat. How do you plan on, I guess, keeping this issues-based or personality? I mean, there's a tendency to move towards personalities when there's big personalities in the race.
Well, my intention is to just fall back on the reasons I ran in the first place. I am not a born politician. In fact, this was never on my agenda, a list of things I wanted to do in my life. I decided to step up to the plate because I'm very concerned about the direction the province is taking under the UCP. And so I intend to simply fall back on my authenticity as a candidate. The fact that I live here, I've worked here, I know my neighbors, I know what the issues are. I talk to people every day. I've been on the doorsteps since June, mid-June, when I was nominated, and I feel I can represent their concerns in an authentic way. I'm not a parachute candidate stopping in to get a seat in the legislature. I'm here as a real concerned and invested citizen.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yes, but isn't there a tendency, at least in the voters' mind, to think if the Premier runs and wins a seat here, it means good things for the riding?
I'll just speak on behalf of, as someone who has been elected out of Southern Alberta. I think one of the reasons why I came here for Gwendoline's nomination meeting and why I'm so hopeful and optimistic about her campaign is that she's taken a very similar approach that has served New Democrats well for many, many years, which is to connect with the community, to knock on doors, to do the hard work, to not take voters for granted, and to respect the voters. And that's exactly the kind of campaign she has already built. It's come a little early for her due to the parachute nature of her competitor. We welcome that. As for being able to deliver for Medicine Hat or for Southern Alberta, I'm not entirely convinced that someone who does not know the area, who does not know the issues, who has to be introduced to the city via the tourist information booth, is at all prepared to understand the full scale of the challenges to healthcare, to local economic development, our college here, our post-secondary system more broadly in Southern Alberta, the infrastructure needs, the housing needs. So I don't think there's in any way, shape, or form a guarantee that Medicine Hat will be any better served now than it was under its previous two UCP MLAs when it was also ignored.
We'll go to our next question.
Chris Brown, Chat News. Yesterday during her media availability, Danielle Smith made comments about the unvaccinated people being the most discriminated against group in her lifetime. What's your reaction to those comments?
Do you want to take that? Or
Maybe we can both. Well, there's no question that these types of comments are entirely inappropriate. They're disrespectful on a number of different levels. And there's no question that this goes to our reputation as Albertans. Investors, people looking to move here, we are now engaged in an entire advertising campaign to attract people here. They see this sort of really nonsensical argument and they think, you know what, that's actually not a place that I want to do business, that I want to send my kid to university, that I want to move to. So we are now in what, day 5 of this person's mandate? And she has already introduced more conflict, more instability, more just chaos into our reputation as Albertans and to our overall trajectory for our healthcare system, for business, for economic growth more broadly. It is unfortunate that already her only real legacy of leadership has been just behaving in a way that does not comport with the office of Premier.
And if you have a follow-up, okay. So now we'll go to questions on the phone and the Zoom. If you have a question, use the *9 function on the phone or the raise hand function on the Zoom. We'll do one more pass for questions.
I'll do one follow-up here. Are you worried at all that with Barry Morishita in Brooks and representing the Alberta Party and yourself, that you might be end up splitting the progressive votes in the riding?
Worried is a very strong word. I guess I'm hoping that's not the case. I guess all I can do is stand by what I believe in and do the best job that I can. I spoke with Barry last night. He's a very nice man and I wish him the best in his campaign. But I believe that the NDP is a party that's ready to govern, and I think that's very important. In that, in May, I'm hoping that, I think many of us are hoping that the NDP forms government, and I would like to have a seat at the table to represent Brooks-Medicine Hat.
And we have a question on the phone. Please state your name and your outlet. Caller, your line is open. There you go.
Calgary, I just want to follow up on the question you just answered regarding Barry Morishita and potentially splitting the vote in the area. Can you take us through your thought process, though? Like, are you going to try to differentiate yourself from Mr. Morishita, or are you, when we talk about vote splitting here, to what degree is it a problem? Because Danielle Smith is going to be the candidate on the right, and there seems to be two candidates towards the center and the left. So I'm just trying to understand how this approach can win this election.
Okay. All right. It's Shannon Phillips here. The NDP is the official opposition and is prepared to govern. And so we will contest every seat on that basis, with the resources, and the energy, and the volunteer base that being a party who has governed and intends to govern again, with all of that entails, and a robust membership base, and a fantastic slate of candidates across the province. Other parties are going to do whatever they're going to do, and they have every right to. We live in a democracy. I would quibble a little bit with this sort of center, middle, right kind of characterization. I think the fact of the matter is that the New Democrats are offering a very pragmatic, very recipe for stability and removing the chaos both in healthcare and in the economy. And we have the resources to be able to reach every voter in this riding. When I began my adventure in the fall of 2011 to win Lethbridge West, there was a so-called vote split, and hard work and determination, hope and optimism made it so that it is now a New Democrat seat. And so that is the formula that we'll be following here in Southern Alberta. And anyone else is welcome to try to outwork Gwendoline Dirk. I leave them to it. And I'm not so sure that they'll be able to do it.
Do you have a follow-up?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
All right, and that will conclude our press conference today. Thank you.
Watching. Alberta's NDP is working hard to build Alberta's future and to build a future that involves all Albertans. The momentum is building. If you want to be part of it, join us at albertasndp.ca.